Hey guys, it's been less than 3 months since I posted, and less than 2 if I had to get my lazy ass to finish this in time. I've been wanting to talk about Purrgatory for years now. It is easily one of the best narrative games I have ever played, and I just happened to randomly stumble upon it back in 2021. It's held a very special place in my heart ever since. In this video, I'll try my best to break down and explain what makes this game so special. If you haven't played it, I'll try to convince you to, but beware, there will be some spoilers later on. I think a lot of what makes this game work so well is the combination of well-crafted characters mixed with extremely goofy humor, all set in a very surreal world. I'll mainly focus on analyzing the characters, but we'll spend some time analyzing other elements as well. Yes, I'm also analyzing the true ending to the game, so keep that in mind, unless, minor spoiler, you're just outright unable to call Lucifer until you save all the characters, meaning there's only one ending, meaning I'm tonight's biggest loser? To begin this analysis, I'll discuss the characters and the dynamics between them upon your arrival in Purrgatory. Right off the bat, the game introduces a stark contrast between the laid-back attitude of Kyung-soon and the more proper vibes from Oliver. The game gives each character time to breathe. The door by Kyung-soon immediately provides an obstacle to encourage you to talk to both of them to overcome it, consequently allowing you to get to know each. It also acts to push these two characters you just met into interacting, which does not go well. While the two of them are both given time to gain an impression and good graces in the player's eyes, the game also demonstrates that the relationships between the people in this place are strained, usually due to their own flaws. This is established pretty quickly, but the time you spend with each character beforehand prevents either of their coming off as too unlikable. The pacing here is also really good, as we get to spend some time by ourselves exploring before we encounter Numa, who we meet kind of just vibing in her own little space, which is pretty fitting for her character. The game does a great job of using visuals to present information about a character's general personality, although the game doesn't let you get too comfortable here. To help ease off the tension a bit, Elijah and Sean are mostly chill, both being pretty friendly to both each other and the player, while still making a good contrast, especially after we start entering the Meowseum, and you can tell Elijah's a little perturbed by Sean's nonchalance toward possibly locking someone inside there. After this, we meet Tori and Natalie, who don't directly interact and, similar to Numa, kind of have their own space. The beginning of the game emphasizes the current feeling of isolation between the characters and why it's there, while making sure to give the player enough time to grow attached to these characters and their personality. After you've made acquaintances with Purrgatory's resident gay animals, things start to pick up. We see Oliver make a major development in his research and hyperfixate on it to an unhealthy extent. After assisting him in delivering his chest beef to Tori while he's busy, we see her show a little bit of concern for his well-being. It's very fitting that these two are the first she bears her cat between, as they are quite literally on opposite sides of this world. This starts to maybe hint that the people here could be happier if they spent more time enjoying each other's company. I mean, look at how excited Oliver gets about his chess strategy. After this, the game kind of lets you roam free as you talk to the others more, while getting into some shenanigans with Tori, which acts as an extreme example of the insanity of the people here, as well as giving the player their first opportunity to help someone get over the issues that have been plaguing them both in life and death, as indulging Tori's insane plans eventually leads her to sit down for a second and reflect on her actions. And while she's still obsessed with finding her own way out of Purrgatory, she learns to sit down and appreciate her companions a little more. Overall, the beginning act of the game does an incredible job setting up these characters and the bonds that will begin to form between each other. This game's humor really is one of a kind. It's a very perfect blend of casual and, I don't know how else to put it besides goofy. Jokes between characters are at a fine line of not being too over the top, but also not being so realistic that's just mundane. A lot of it is just hitting that sweet spot on all the cylinders. Another very compelling part of the humor would be how it contributes to the development of each character. The best case would be Oliver going batshit crazy over seeing a P in a book. Honestly, I mean, looking at it, I kinda assumed he'd seen plenty of those before. On top of that, there are silly conversations such as the one you have with Tori over burritos, which can read as a reflection of Tori's obsession with leaving, preventing her from really appreciating life. By tying the humor to these key moments, it allows for more subtle development of character without creating an overly sappy tone. As well, the humor throughout the game is varied while never feeling too random. We got cat puns, the developer poking fun at their own art, casual banter between friends, and more cat puns which honestly start to act as setups for other jokes later. All of the elements, as well as the deep ties to the characters throughout, make the game's humor both a key part of its identity and a great tool for storytelling. I'd say this event is one of the most pivotal moments in the game and allows the protagonist to really kickstart the activity within Purgatory. The Everything Slam is actually foreshadowed from the start of the game, making it feel important as soon as it's mentioned. Having Elijah be the one to suggest the idea is perfect as well. We see him push you to make friends from the beginning, as well as going out of his way to talk to people like Numa, and in general seems to be the one most active in building a community in Purgatory despite his own anxiety setting him back. As you gather more attendees to the event, we see dialogue specific to their own interests and feelings. The game makes this feel like a very big deal. This is an Adventures level crossover event as all your favorite gay animals gather in a room to talk about their hyperfixations. The slam itself is worth the setup as we get to see plenty of people like Oliver, Tori, and Numa come out of the shell a little bit. It's also worth noting that Sean is way more open when talking about Danny and his feelings when compared to his reaction when it's brought up before. Also, I gotta be honest here for a second, my stupid ass lost the recording for the entire slam portion of my playthrough because I forgot to end the recording before turning off my PC and now the footage is corrupted. I can make do with my notes, but yeah, that's gonna be a little inconvenient. While we get to see plenty of unique character interactions here, the game does make a point to break up the action with Elijah's clumsy ass losing his poem. Norman acts to flesh out your character in particular. We're reflecting the same kindness Elijah showed to us by allowing him to get out there and share his hard work and hell his life with everyone, which in turn forms a deeper bond between the group as a whole. And pretty importantly, he thanks you for helping him set it all up, which acts to emphasize your contribution to building this community in Purgatory. And after the Everything Slam, we get characters hanging out with each other more. Numa and Oliver open up to you more, allowing you to offer what help you can to each, as well as seeing them interact with others. Despite the fact you likely already completed Tori's story at this point, she makes a return to yell with Natalie about her webcomic, following up on her shift in character from prior. Note how characters are moving around outside their typical areas, showcasing how they've become a little more interested in stepping outside their comfort zone. Numa has found the courage to open up and ask for help after a plant workshop, but still retains her strong personal boundaries, which feels like a very logical expansion of her character. It's also worth mentioning that Numa is shown to trust the player more at this point as well, demonstrating how her actions have helped garner us some credibility. Hell, we can even see visual change in the comments to represent the positive changes happening in Purgatory. Overall, the Everything Slam and its aftermath stand in stark contrast to the isolation introduced to us in the first half of the game, and emphasize the impact the player's kindness has had on the people here. I saw someone in the reviews of this game say not to look at the game too long. This is factually incorrect because the game's visuals are incredible. Van Gogh? More like Van Gogh shit your pants because you can never achieve anything close to this peak. In all seriousness though, this game's backgrounds really contribute to the overall surreal nature of this place, while not making it too far removed from reality. The locales in this pleasing, comfortable, and inviting realm are extremely varied, with most places having a distinct identity despite the lack of color. Despite this variety, there's a clear connection between all these places, that being the rundown, unkempt nature of everything, making sure nothing feels too random. On top of this, there's an abundance of small details plastered all over the walls of this place, such as tic-tac-toe games seen on the wall since you've arrived, that eventually lead into you and Oliver's interactions later. There's also the broken lamp that alludes to an incident briefly mentioned by Elijah during his spat with Sean in the museum. All of these details make Purgatory feel lived in, and makes the player empathize with these people more as they've clearly been stuck here for like ever. Oh, and you can also turn on low contrast mode so the visuals aren't pure white, but you really lose out on part of the experience if you're not consuming unhealthy amounts of blue light. The climax of this game acts like more of a showcase of how much these characters have grown over the course of the game. First of all, Lucifer makes for an incredible antagonist for this closing chapter. The amount of foreshadowing to his appearance is comical and really fits his egotistical nature. On top of this, his whole motivation being loneliness feels very fitting considering what you just spent your time doing the whole game. In fact, the writing here in this section really backs up the friends you've made along the way. I can only equate everyone's dialogue to the feeling when your friend group gets in trouble for some bullshit and everyone is just pissed at the person that caught them. We see Tori roping everyone into a revolt, as well as Oliver assuring that everyone that it could be worse. It really shows how strong the bond between everyone is. The scenario really is a great canvas to demonstrate this. It also showcases how happy these people have become with themselves despite being stuck in this monochrome world. It's also satisfying to see Youngsoon play the role of group therapist and psychoanalyze Lucifer. It feels like your actions have helped the others find ways to show the same sort of kindness and help in their own way. And of course, seeing them stand up for you expounds upon this. Due to all of this, when we finally see all these characters in heaven, it feels super rewarding. Less like this was the solution they always needed, but a reward for what they as a person have achieved. Overall, the ending to this game focuses on reaffirming the friendships you've built and how everyone has grown from them, and giving these characters the ending they've earned. Also, the end credits song is literally peak musical composition. It does not get better than this. Well, I hope this video has helped you understand a bit more about the many elements that make Purrgatory such an incredible experience. It's been an informative experience for me, and I really appreciate a lot of the game's finer details while we're playing it. A few years back, I left a comment on this game's itch.io page stating that I couldn't quite put into words how much this game meant to me, and while I still don't think this video covered all of it, I feel like it's a few steps closer than I was back then. If you've watched to the end and still haven't played this game, first of all, you better have skipped all of the spoilers for it, and B, it's literally free and playable on browser, so there are very few excuses as to why you shouldn't go play it. As for what's next for this channel, I'm kind of feeling like doing a video on this really obscure and pretty fun game I found called Beastbreaker. It also has gay anthropomorphic animals in it. I'm also considering covering a Sonic game like Frontiers or Black Knight, although those may be an ambitious undertaking. Either way, I'd like to keep the momentum I currently have going and get another video out before the summer ends, especially since the school year is my last before college, and I might be very busy. With all that said, thanks for watching this far into the video. As a reward, you can get some of my insightful notes that I took during my playthrough of Purrgatory. How the fuck does Kyungsoon keep that body with her current routine? I fucked the flower minigame. Oliver is a fucking weeb. Holy fuck, I love this game. Anyways, I'll catch all of you on the flip side.